This is Catherine Lewis Brown. I'm the founder, owner of The Successful Stager, which is a training program for new stagers, and also includes a lot of coaching and other stuff too. So the reason I came on was because I wanted to talk about my favorite service. Now, I don't know what every other stager thinks, but my favorite service in the staging industry and the things that we're able to provide is actually the consultation. And I love the consultation because I think that it is the one thing that we can do for our sellers that brings a crazy amount of return on investment for a very small amount. Most consultations start in around the $250 range, last for a couple of hours, but the information that a seller gets and a realtor benefits from in the consultation is absolutely massive. So I really, really love that. I love the fact that when you do a consultation, that the end result, even if you don't end up coming back and doing staging, is just like crazy for the seller. That the difference that can be made by us going in and giving recommendations and talking to the seller and involving them in the process is like huge. There are just like so much benefits to it for the seller as we're going through. I think a lot of us stagers worry about our sellers not being comfortable with the recommendations that we're getting, and I can't see, I never can figure out exactly who, maybe this is it, no, that's not it. I wanted to see who's on, but I can't see. So hi, whoever you are, I can't see. Oh, it says comments up here. I can't see who it is. So anyways, what was I saying now? The point being that so a lot of stagers will go into doing a consultation or worry about the consultation, that they're not sure if their sellers are going to, be on board to making changes. They don't know what kind of budget they're looking at, and they're really kind of nervous about like really the objections that a seller is going to have about the work that they're going to get the stager's going to get their seller to do. And let's be honest, there is a lot of work. It's so rare that you go into a house and you're like, oh, this is beautiful, just put it on the market. There's always something that we can find for them to do to improve the appearance of the property, to hopefully raise the value of the property. But there's like so much that we can find for a seller to do. We're not going to leave them empty-handed. We're going to give them lots of stuff to do. But then, of course, there's that objection handling, which I know is like tough for us because we really want them to understand immediately like how to get this done, like how to do the recommendations and know that as they're doing them, they're really helping the value of their house, that they're gonna really make a difference in the sale. And so I think that's one of the reasons why as a stager, you want to be super comfortable and super confident. Hi, Carmelita. Sorry, I don't have my glasses on. It's not terrible. I'm looking at the phone and I can't even see. Carmelita. I think that we have to really work hard to be really super confident in what we're going to talk about. Like when we go and we're going to give recommendations and when we're talking to the seller. And I know that can be sort of tough when you're in the beginning of your business and you haven't really done very much consultations before. And I'll be honest, I don't think everybody does consultations in the same way. I think that when I say, in a blanket statement that it's like $250 for a consultation minimum, some of you are uncomfortable with that, and some agents are uncomfortable with that. And I suspect it's because one person's consultation is not the same as another. And I think that's rooted in several things. Most important being your training, your source of training. A consultation, in my opinion, should never be half an hour to 45 minutes. I can't imagine being able to give the kind of recommendations that I want to a seller that we're going to make the difference in a half an hour to 45 minutes. I think I could get the information I need to put a quote together, but they need more, and they deserve more. So one of the things I think that's really critical about our consultation service when we are going to a seller is that they're getting fair value for the investment that they're making. And that's why I think you potentially can charge as much as you want to for a consultation. I mean, when we were at the IHES conference and we were talking about luxury staging, and the mention that, being handed a check for a $1,300 consultation, that's because that seller and that agent saw got huge value out of the consultation, that their recommendations really were able to raise their list price, to give them better profile, to just all sorts of things. But there was huge value, and the seller saw that. So I think it's really critical for us as stagers, like as we're getting ready to go and do a consultation, that we and that we're preparing for our business, because we all know how to stage. Like, let's face it, we all have that. If you're a stager, you have that thing that you love to decorate, that you love to get into a property and move things around, and that's, we love that. But and we know that. But in the consultation part, it really is, there is a sales component to it. And I don't mean closing the sale on doing the showcasing or the putting the icing on the cake and doing the staging. I just mean that there's a component of sales in it, because we're handling objections from the seller potentially to not want to do, to not agree with why they should do the work, to not understand why they need to do the work. So a big part of our job is then to be super educated and familiar, and not more than familiar, knowledgeable, and the expert on what sells in your market, and what homeowners need to do. And in most of our work, we tend to, if you're really to look closely at where you serve, you're tending to serve the same physical geographical area most of the time, which means that you're probably typically working in homes and visiting homes that are very similar in size, in style, especially if you're working in areas where there's new developments and the houses are very, very similar. So you get to know very quickly, especially if you look at any of the online listings and you look at photos, you go to open houses, you get to see firsthand what really is selling a house and what the competition is like. So when you go to do a recommendation at a consult for another client, then you know that you want to be able to give them the recommendations that are going to make a big difference to the sale of their property, because you want ultimately their property to be heads and shoulders above their competition. And that's what'll get them the best sale price. That's what'll make it happen quickly. That's what'll get multiple offers. So so that whole idea of being really confident about what you would do what you would give as a recommendation comes from your knowledge and your continued exposure and experience working in your market, and working with the sellers and the agents in your market as well. So it's really building up that knowledge. So if you haven't started your business yet, or you're starting right now and you're nervous about the consultation, one of the things you can do is go to open houses, see what they've done, look at listings online and see what the competition is like, see what is selling, look at it compared to another property. Really easy to do in an area where there's new developments, because the houses are so similar, right? So if you look at a house that has a granite countertop and hardwood floors, and it's $40,000 more than the one next door that has wall-to-wall carpet and Formica countertops, then you know that those two things will make a difference in the sale. It'll raise and elevate the list price as well. So start doing things like that if you are not sure about what you're going to make as recommendations to the seller. And it is really crucial to be as confident as possible about what you're doing for your seller, because they are looking to you as the expert. I mean, I would talk about fair value for cost. So if I'm going to charge $300 or $400 for a consultation, my clients need to know, and my agent especially, because he's making the big recommendation, that the value that I bring is worth that, right? And so it's important that you know that, and it's also just as important for you to realize that that agent and that seller have you in the house, have invited you to come into their property to do that consultation, because they are under the understanding, and they have bought into the fact that you are the expert, you are the staging expert. And so it's really crucial that you wear that hat and you walk that talk and you stand proud and you go in and you know exactly what you're going to do in your consultation, so that you really do share this crazy amount of knowledge and expertise. And the wonderful thing is they listen to you when you do that. And that's, hi Lynn, Grimsby. Oh, I haven't been to Grimsby in a while. I have to go down there soon. Maybe get some wine. it is really, really important that you walk that talk, even if you are slightly nervous about it, even if were sweating. I still remember the first consultation that I did, and I remember when they called to book it, I just about crapped my pants. I was dropping my kids off at daycare, and this is many years ago now, and someone called, and it was somebody that knew me from somewhere and through someone, and but I can remember just sweating. I think it must have been about this time of year too. And I was just like, oh, I was so nervous about going to do it because, of course, you don't know what you don't know, and you don't know how the person's going to react. And I had in my head that they were going to be, I was going to have to sell them on the objections, but I didn't even understand what that was at the time. I didn't know what they would be objecting to, because surely they must know what I know. And actually they were very good. But the poor man that I was sat down to give him my follow-up report was, just looked like deer caught in the headlights, because I was and probably looked in a complete panic and beet red. So we all do it, but you do it that one time, and that's your first time done, and then on you go to the next ones, and you learn from everyone, and you also. And this is kind of crucial, is that yes, you're the expert. Hi, Rixia. Yes, you're the expert, and yes, you have this crazy amount of knowledge. But I lost my train of thought there. You have this crazy amount of knowledge, and that's what they're paying for. That's what they want to hear. But you're also going to keep on building and keep on learning from every consultation that you ever do. You want to, you're going to get different sort of experiences. Oh, I know what I was going to say. It's really easy to have a script. Well, it's not actually really easy, but it's like you feel like you want to have a script, like you want to be have talking points, and this is how you go through the process of going through a consultation. But the thing about the consultation, though, too, is that it is so much about you. When you stage and you have that style that you bring to the staging, and it's reflected in your inventory, and it's reflected in your design plan, and and it's really all about you. Don't forget that in your consultation, because how you deliver a consultation is as well all about you. And it's this, it's not the consultation is not a means to an end. It's not about, getting in there and getting the information from the quote, dumping a bunch of information, or handing them like a blank report or a checklist. It's about, honestly, getting through the consultation, giving them huge value, but at the same time, rather than just closing the deal and the showcasing, you want to be able to spend that 2 hours winning them over on the value of the consultation. And so that when you start talking about staging, which will be part of the consultation because it should be, then you're building a relationship with them. And because you're the expert, and because they hired you, there's some trust already built. You need them to build more trust, or you need to build more trust with them. You need to let them have great faith in you, that you are this expert, and that for them to come and spend $3,000 with you without really knowing what you're doing is like, that's a big gift, and we have to earn that gift. And earning that gift is part of the consultation process. But as I said, it's not a means to an end. The consult is not about, the consultation is not just about, my phone's ringing here, about getting to the end and closing that and making it into a sale. It's about building a relationship, so that when you start talking about staging and you start talking about the next steps, then they can't wait to work with you, and they're ready to pay, and they're I don't know if they're excited to pay, but they're excited to book you. They know that they have made a smart and a wise decision. So it is really up to us to, in those recommendations that we give, in that relationship that we have with them. I teach the walk and talk. I really believe that that's how you build that relationship, and that's how you move your clients to the next level of showcasing, and that's how they feel that they really got value out of you in the consultation process. One of the reasons that I got into staging, or the big reason that led me to staging, was back in 2004. I was selling my own house, and my realtor was pretty new, and he was pretty green. He was pretty excited, and I had no idea that he was new and green at that point. But he brought on a stager to come and do a consultation with me. Now, I had no idea what that was going to be, and interestingly enough, she never recommended that she would bring in furniture, nothing. She didn't try showcasing at all. But what she did, which was really wrong, was she just led me round the house with my sister in tow and with me in a clipboard and me taking copious notes. My sister was in tears because she just felt like this was the worst thing ever, that this woman was telling me to pack up all my things and get rid of anything that was personal. So, but she did no lead in. She did no education. There was no follow up. There was just this, consultation. I wish now I knew who it was, because I for the life of me, I don't know who the person was that came and did it. And of course, it was her opportunity to build a relationship. And instead, she put the fear of God into my sister. I could still remember her crying because she'd asked me to take something out of a space that was very symbolic, I guess, of me to my sister and meant something to my sister. But so it was interesting. And so that was my first exposure to doing consultation and staging, but it was also the thing that led me to realize, oh, this is a real industry. I think I could do this. I didn't think about it. That was 2004. I got married shortly after that, and it wasn't until 2009 that I started really thinking about, actually maybe a bit earlier, 2008, that I started seriously thinking about being a stager, and then that kind of happened. But from that consultation, I can tell you absolutely that you need to really, we need to be better than that. We can't just like go in and give a whole bunch of scary information to people and expect that they're going to be won over by that. We have to be we are selling, and kind of sadly, I hate this, but we're sort of selling all the time, just by virtue of the fact that we are so knowledgeable about what we do, and we need to move our sellers to the next level, or that is our ultimate goal, is to move them to the next level. But I think just to kind of go back, I think it is really important that you're the expert, that you deliver such great knowledge, that you are creating a relationship, but that you are also absolutely 100% your consultation. And the way you speak in your consultation, the way you move through your consultation, doesn't matter who you are. You're still going to say more or less, you're still going to have the same things to do, is that you are yourself, and that you are true and honest about who you are. And that everything that you do in the consultation says everything about you. And don't try to be this particular kind of business person that you think you're supposed to be, which is what I did in the beginning. And it's not that it didn't work, but it's what made me not comfortable about going to do a consultation, until I realized that that's actually why I started doing the walk and talk, because I found that it was not in my nature to walk through someone's house and to write like tiny little report on all these lines and just spend all this time in my writing and not actually be talking to somebody. And that I knew that I brought so much more value to a seller, or to anybody actually, really, if I can talk, and if they meet me and they hear me and they listen and we talk, we have a relationship. And so I listen to what they're saying. And so I think it's really critical that you don't lose sight of like who you are in that, and that my hair is driving me bananas. It's getting too long. That you are building a relationship that is going to supersede anything that even happens in the consultation, because there's the potential for you to do the staging. There's potential for you to do any of the services in between that you feel that you could do, that you might in your business market, like the project management, or they might need contractor services or vendor services that you take a fee from. Then you do the staging, and that potentially, if they love you, which is, I think, interesting, because again, your sellers have, through that whole process, have decided that they love you. And why would they go with a designer when they can have you? And look what you did, and it was amazing, and I want you back to come and decorate my new house. So there's all sorts of things that you are truly building a relationship, but you have to be so honest about who you are in that process. And so one of the things that happens over time of you doing your consultations is that you are also developing a process or a system that really works for you. Now, there's kind of like step-by-step things that you want to do. Like in my programs. I have sort of like a piece of the pie, and it lets you know like what happens now and what the process is. But in that process, it's up to you to make it your own. To own that process, to own the dialogue that you're going to talk. Like, because I find that now that when I go and do a consultation, that my consultation, I use the same kind of words and the same kind of phrases all the time, and I use the same kinds of examples all the time. People aren't so different that they need something that unique from everybody, for every home. Like you're still going to talk to them in that very familial way. At least I do, and it really works for me. I want to sit down with the clients. One of the things I do when I'm doing a consultation is I set the parameters up front even when I walk in the door, because I find people are so odd. I can count, like I live in Toronto, so we have snow, we have winter, we have boots, we have coats. And I went on a consult not that long ago, and again, they have a front hall cupboard. And so first, usually they don't even ask if they can take your coat, which I find bizarre. And so you're standing there kind of throwing your coat on the floor. This guy took my coat, but he threw it over the stairs. I mean, well, they have a closet. Anyway, just all weird. But having said all that, you end up standing at the front door for a while. So one of the things I really want to do is like to talk to them about what's actually what we're going to do. And that often seems like the easiest way to do it then. And one of those things is to set the stage for what's going to happen, and then to also let them know that at the end of the consultation, I'm actually going to talk to them about staging. And because this is like a tip for you, because this was something that I found very difficult, was to get to the pricing. And I know that I've heard from too many, especially new stagers, when they haven't done it yet, that they walk away not even talking about the next step, not even talking about pricing, not even talking about the fact that you could actually come back and stage. So I found the easiest way to do it was to say right up front, and then we'll come back and we'll sit down and I'll tell you all about the next steps and how I can help you with staging. And so then I was forced, because I couldn't let them down. I had to talk about it. So that really, really helps. So if you struggle with that, that really helps to set the stage in the beginning. And then you're, Montana. Oh, hi, Paula. I just saw it was Montana. Then you've set yourself up, one, to deliver on something. So what you're ending up doing is you're disappointing them if you don't talk about it, and we don't want to disappoint them. So you want to set yourself up so that you are going to talk about it. The other thing is you don't want to leave your client thinking that this isn't something you do. And it's very hard to come back and say, oh, I forgot to tell you about the staging. You want to make sure that they're on board. And then the thing is that while you're walking through the house and you're doing that walk and talk with them and you're chatting, you're also in a position where you are actually able to not only demonstrate your value, but you're also building and forging a relationship. But you also have a very clear opportunity to start talking about staging without the pressure of sitting down and saying, okay, we're going to talk about staging now. We're going to talk about how you're going to make this $5,000 investment in me. Instead, you are able to work it into the conversation because you're standing in a room that needs to be staged, or there's something that leads you very easily into that. And if you pay attention to those cues, it does happen very easily that you can start talking about staging. Another thing that I think you should never be afraid of talking about is how much it's going to cost. I think it's a big mistake personally to not feel your way around to find, like, are they prepared for staging? It's really wise to have asked the question of the realtor when you're booking the consultation, or if it's a seller, when you're booking it, are you considering having your property staged? Or, like, find out what, especially from the realtor, what the climate is like. Are they going to consider doing that? So that you're prepared to talk about it. And you're going to talk about it anyway, but you're prepared to really talk about it and to really sort of hit the end game with them. So as you're walking through and you're talking and you get to the point where you're going to talk about where it's an opportunity to talk about next step in staging, you want to make sure that they're not thrown in the deep end with that information, but that you're having a conversation. It's very seldom when you have that conversation and you're building a relationship that there truly is an objection, because I think the thing is, it's not an objection so much as it's a conversation, and they're waiting to hear what your answer is. So when they say to you, "Ooh, that's kind of expensive," then you're having a conversation, and you can say, it's worth every penny to make the investment right now in staging, because you're going to get that tenfold back when it goes on the market, or whatever words you use, whatever phrase you use. All my homes sell to at least 10% over, or all my homes sell, my listings sell in under 2 weeks. So it's it's really important to. It's an investment that's worthwhile. Or this is also when you find out where that they think staging is only about $500, and you go, inside you're crying, and you're thinking, how am I going to get around that one? And that's the best thing. And it's the same thing when you come across a house that smells of cats, or is really smelly with dogs or smoke or whatever, is that you just be honest. You tell them that $500 is not going to go far enough for staging, and if they really that you really feel that they need it. It's really important that their living room doesn't look like the family room, or that the front room isn't got 2 dressers and a bed in it. That really has to show like you have to be honest. They have put your faith in you. You only get this one shot. They only get this one shot to hear from you. So. And that's that exchange of value, right? So you're giving them value. They need to hear that. And whether or not it's scary or not to them, and scary for you to say it, that's why we're there. So anyway, that's my little spiel on the consultation. But I guess overall, it's like the most important things are, if I can recap, is that you go with being totally yourself, and you deliver the consultation in a way that you feel really comfortable delivering, that you set the expectation that you're going to deliver on, that you know your market well enough so that you are confident in talking about recommendations, confident in getting your seller where they need to be with their consultation and with the sale of their house, and really understanding that they have invited you in, they have brought you in because you've already started that trust process with them. And that could be, they might not even know you, but it's very likely that they looked you up online after the realtor said they're going to book an appointment. But the fact that the realtor says, I've booked you the consultation, or the stager's going to call you to book a consultation, however they're going to do it, the recommendation came from the realtor, who they've also committed to really believing in too, that's going to sell their property. So I guess that's just the sort of gist of it. And as I said, I think the consultation is like a massive, massive part of the staging process. I think it is huge to the seller, big value to the realtor, because the realtor looks good, and the list price goes up, and his houses look great, even if you never staged. Just the value that you can change from doing the consultation. I know we want the staging part, but sometimes it doesn't happen, no matter how hard we try, and so you have to kind of accept that as you go. But it is a huge, huge value, and I think it's a real missed opportunity when you don't do them well, and you're just spending 30 quick minutes in there. You're not really having a conversation with them. I think it's a real lost opportunity, and if you're good at them and you love doing them, don't be afraid to market yourself doing consultations. That is why, like, if you haven't seen already, I took the Nail the Consult MasterClass that I had, and I combined it with some additional modules and resources to create a brand new certified home staging consultant designation, because I think that it's that important. And I've also seen, and this is one of the big reasons as well, I've had a lot of stagers come to me who are really considering and wondering how to build their business solely around consultations. That they've been doing staging for years. A lot of us started in our early to mid 40s, and we've been around for long enough that it's like, oh, I don't want to schlep furniture anymore. But they really love doing the consultation, and so this certificate helps you to do that as well. It also really awards you for your excellence in the industry, and it provides you with accreditation that that acknowledges that you know a lot about the consultation, that you're going to come in and really deliver on value. The other thing that the certificate program does as well is it actually addresses how would you package up a consultation, how can you make it more. There's no rules on on how to deliver a consultation, whether or not you charge $800 and you give them a marketing plan, or $800 and you give them a DIY. Like, there's lots of different things that you can do, and you can provide your seller with if you create like a consultation package and you make that the focus of your business. The other great thing about doing that as well is that there's this real opportunity for getting referral business, or not referral business, but like giving referrals, and so you get a percentage back. So if I don't do as much staging, well, I don't do any staging really anymore, but I still will do consultations, and typically I'll do a consultation and then I'll hire, or I won't even hire, I'll refer the staging to one of my wonderful colleagues, and they will do the staging, and I get a referral fee back. So, I mean, that's lovely passive income, and I've done nothing except refer the job. And so there's some real opportunities. So the certificate program has those extra modules that helps you to design the perfect sort of consultation and the service and package that you could sell. And then we also go into how to set up your business to do that, how to price it, and how to market it. So how to really sell the value to realtors in your area that have just caught on to staging, but now you want to like have a go at them with doing the consultation solely. And I think it's a great opportunity. Like, you can partner with other stagers. You can be like, some stagers hate the consultation. So if they knew that they could partner up with someone else who's superior at it, who's certified and who has those credentials, then that's all the better too. So anyway, so that's that. I'll put a link into the certification program so you can take a look at it. But I really just wanted to talk about the consultation. It's been on my mind huge in the last week because I've been promoting the certification program. But I just want to share my thoughts on what the consultation is all about, why it's so valuable, and why I think every stager should take advantage of more training to do it well and to be on the same page, because we're not all on the same page, and to really sort of elevate that part of the industry as well, because it is a great service. Okay. So thank you very much, guys, for coming in. I'm going to do more of these. I've really not done enough of them lately, so I'm going to start doing these regularly. But thank you so much for joining in, and we'll see you. Thanks, Lynn. All right, take care, guys, and have a wonderful day.